Welcome to Inspire and Impact, the podcast where purpose meets perseverance. This is where transformation begins and your story continues.
Jimmy, thank you so much for coming on this podcast. I really appreciate it. You share with the audience a little bit about yourself so we get more context in this conversation.
I'm a professional keynote speaker, podcaster, live stream host, and autism advocate. I'm also on the autism spectrum as well. I run a business called Crazy Fitness Guy. I'm going into my 8th year of being in business, which I don't think many small business owners can say that. I don't know, I'm proud to be in business for that long, even though I think I might have gone crazy along the way.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing about yourself. Can you maybe share with us a little bit some of the challenges you faced growing up, that you had, the fact that you had autism, and how it shaped your perspective with like health and fitness?
So growing up, I've been told I was not going to amount to anything. I was bullied for 8+ years. I was diagnosed at, I think, either 3rd or 4th grade, and people, and basically, I'll just say a lot of people had a lot of bleak outlook of me because that's the data that they had back then. I don't fault them for it. Data can be faulty. Think of the other people. They only were around about 85% of the time. And I know it's just science, but I mean, I should just say something to people's data's not always accurate. So basically, going through 8+ years of bullying, I went through a hell of a depression, and luckily I had friends and family members around me to support me during that time. And basically, when I found fitness, I was able to stand up to the bullies because I built the self-confidence that I know I could kind of take them if I need to, physically. Luckily, I didn't need to do that, but I stood up in my math class. Towards the end of the math class, they would tell them, don't ever pick on me or my friends ever again. Except I didn't do it in those exact words. I did it in a more confrontational way, and I cursed and yelled and called them every single name in the book. I know it wasn't the best way to handle things, but I wanted to scare the hell out of them. And I got one of the bullies expelled, and then everyone else left me alone after that. But yeah, fitness has really been a game changer for me, so to speak. I lost 30 pounds with P90X. I pretty much owe my life to fitness, I have to say, because honestly, with 8+ years of bullying and just recently coming out of 7+ weeks of depression last year, I probably should be dead by now. Not joking, but seriously, I mean, I almost fell asleep on the wheel end of last year. Not on purpose, but I was always just tired. I was emotionally drained. Basically, how my headspace is, because it's a super computer for a brain. I can memorize like lines from TV shows, movies, books, stuff said in class, etc. Well, let me rephrase that. Interesting stuff said in class. If it's something that I find interesting, if it's not interesting at all, I'm like, do I need to know this information? Nope, out the window. So basically, how sometimes my brain's emotions and ideas get all jumbled up and mixed together. And think of it kind of like it's a build-up to a hurricane. And so you got your level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, fun fact, years ago, when had my autism meltdowns, they basically were like category level 5 hurricanes. But instead of me getting all pissy and then, well, I mean, I still get pissy, but I'll just be honest. But instead of me just throwing stuff around my room and making a whole mess like I used to do in public school years ago, and I mean, I didn't do that on purpose, but I didn't know how to handle my emotions better. At this time, when stuff kind of happens in my brain, uh, basically my brain just mentally shuts off, doesn't can't take any more information. And I got tired of feeling that way, so I asked my doctor for some help to keep my brain at a more, kind of state. That didn't mess my. I can still feel. It's not. I can still feel. I can still experience my emotions, but I don't. When it's just a big ball of fiery hell and hurricane hell in my brain, I'm like, somebody tells me one more piece of information. Like, I give you an example. On last Friday, last Saturday, when we were going to my uncle's house for his birthday, basically, my mom was asking me all these questions. Hey, Jimmy, do you want this in this room or do you want this over here? And I'm like, you do whatever the hell you want. And it's like, I can't take in any more information. And I mean, it came off blunt. I didn't really mean it to be blunt and rude, but I was like, tell me one more piece of information. I just can't do it at the moment. As this is a you thing, I don't give a crap. Put it where you want to put it. I don't give a crap. Um, and but so that's basically the insides and out of my brain growing up. But I do my life to fitness. I mean, the last few weeks of just going hard at this capstone project in my college. I've been going to karate like 3 to 4 times a week. And someone might say, aren't you going to give your body a break? And it's like, I probably should at some point, but my brain, before I got the help from my doctor that I needed, um, because I'm not stubborn to ask for help, but I was kind of thinking it was just a headache and I just keep getting these headaches. But then when I started notice these patterns, I was like, okay, maybe I need to get myself onto something with my doctor's help, of course. I was against it because I had a doctor before who put me on this mood medication that basically kind of messed. If you ever seen the movie the not recently, but in the past couple of years, the new Joker movie where the Joker goes, I'll be like, I'm always happy. That's how the medication made me feel. This medication, uh, yeah, I can still feel stuff. The other one was just like, oh, I'm masking everything, and it's like I'm always happy, and but deep down inside me is, I want to experience frustration, sad. Not that I want to be sad or angry, but I don't want to be forced to be always happy, Jimmy. I was like, if I was always happy, I'm like, I can't be a podcaster, I can't be a keynote speaker because, oh, what's it like to experience emotions? I'd be like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz.
Okay, ask you, so what is inspiring you to want to be, you're on this mission now to be an autism advocate and motivational speaker? What's like inspiring you to be that? So,
Honestly, what inspires me to be is to showcase my people's unique challenges like autism, saying, it doesn't have to be a life sentence. It should be looked as a gift. It depends on how you look at things. I mean, growing up, I thought I want to be like everyone else, but my brother growing up, he followed the trends of one time or another, he had like longish hair uh, that kind of looked 80s stylish hair, and he wore it. Then he wear loose baggy clothes all the time, and when he got off to college, he made his own look, etc. I never followed the trends. I just made my own style and whatnot. I didn't care what people thought of me. I still worry about it sometimes, but I never got into, oh, I had to be trendy. No, I don't need to be trendy. As like, clothes that cost too much money anyway these days. So it's like really an overpriced thing, and then something falls apart within a month or two. Is really, come on. I can buy a whole laptop for this freaking thing, and it might probably work better.
So, as a autism advocate, what is it that you're trying to advocate for? What is it you want people to know, or what changes you're trying to help make happen?
So one of the things well, because I'm off of my parents' insurance, and one of the things I've noticed in being on the autism spectrum, it's hard to get the mental help I need. And because everyone's body is different, everybody's mind's different, the other thing, and basically where I'm going with this is I'm advocating for change in the insurance industry because, for instance, I'm going to talk about my state because I'm sure there's something similar in each of the other states because politicians really know how to think these days. And I don't mean any particular party. I mean just left and right. I'm not a political person. If they'll just go away somewhere on planet Mars tomorrow, I wouldn't care. Um, so basically, where I'm going with this is, let's just say so in the state of Pennsylvania currently, there's a law / regulation, however you want to phrase it, because I see a therapist on telehealth from Pennsylvania. Well, she's in New York and I'm in Pennsylvania, and she's not registered in Medicaid. I can't get reimbursement for seeing my therapist. And then all the doctors currently in my insurance network, they all booked out 4 months, 5 to 6 weeks, not seeing any new patients, don't get back to you. And you might be wondering, how's that an insurance issue? Well, here's an issue though. Here's why it's an issue is someone like me who has they're not bad thoughts. They're just like overwhelming thoughts. I get some anxiety attacks from past traumatic. I wouldn't say I have PTSD, but I just say due to bullying. Not that I got bullied recently, but just sometimes I have bad dreams from it, etc. So my therapy needs are different from others, or maybe sometimes similar. I mean, everybody's different, like I said, and unique. And so basically, what's not fair is that I can see some of my insurance network is so small with with psychologists, and I prefer psychologists because let's just say I had a psychiatrist once and who kind of manipulated my medicine based on mood. I mean, I admit that I did not have the best filter back then and the best way to coping with stuff, but I didn't like that she, based on if I had a part-time job in the summer, if I could lessen the medicine or up the medicine, and I was like, you're playing with fire, lady. And I didn't catch on to it until I started advocating for myself. But that's a whole nother story. But so basically, my the insurance industry needs to be monitored, have a watchdog company over just all the insurance companies because people with extra challenges, non extra challenges, struggle to get the help they need. And my state rep is, well, and I'm sure a lot of other state reps are completely oblivious because, like, have you seen? I mean, I'm not a person that watches the news a lot, but just seeing people, just reading about people shooting up places or doing so many criminal stuff is, well, maybe we got people the help they need. And all these politicians keep on saying, we got to stop this and do this and do this. And, well, maybe you should go look into the health insurance industry because they so-called benefits. Guess what? I'm not even getting any of my benefits because they want me to just change my doctor to everybody in their network. But everybody in their network can't take me. So, ironically, so what I'm changing is I'm on a watchdog over these companies because I went through the review process. Let me tell you on how rigged that review, and I swear I couldn't make up a lie if I possibly could. Well, I mean, I could make up a white lie, but I couldn't lie about this. It's too stupid. It's too stupid to make this up. I should make a movie script and sell it to Hollywood. Come on, pay me $1 billion, Hollywood. Basically, what I'm going to tell you is the level 1 review process. They they review it in their internal team, and they reject you. Level 2, well, my insurance company screwed with me at least 3 times just to reject me. So level 1, they rejected me. Then they went to 1.5. I'm not sure why we had something before level 2. I think there's just to keep on rejecting me. I think they had too much fun with it. But then level 2, they brought somebody from the county of where I live. I'm not going to say the county, but they brought in somebody from the county. This was all on Zoom or Microsoft Teams, whatever it was. And they brought some guy from the county. And I was like, so level 1 is rigged and level 2 is rigged. So this is great. So you bring in some guy from the county who has a decision to make yes or no, and they still said no. So now I put up to the state insurance. So I'm advocating that there needs to be change because I should be able to see anybody who I want to see, who I built a trust professional relationship with. I've had too many bad experiences with doctors, and there's even a red flag, couple of red flag clinics in there underneath their umbrella, and they and insurance companies, we vet every single doctor. It's like, yeah, and then that's why you still have them underneath your umbrella company, isn't it? They couldn't answer that.
Can I ask you, like, well, what strategies have you found effective in overcoming obstacles related to health and fitness and nutrition?
So my strategies for me, like for nutrition, I follow the Mediterranean diet as much as possible because I have my arthritis in my knees, at least one of my knees I know of so far. And surprisingly, it's not from karate at all. It's actually from just everyday movement. And my knees point inward, so basically it puts more pressure on the knee itself. So, but I do my knee exercises every single day from physical therapy just to keep it strong and so I don't feel any discomfort or pain eventually. So, but so for fitness, yeah, I try to stay away from lunges because my physical therapist told me is like, if you injure yourself again regarding your knee, you can still come in, but I'm going to tell you I told you so to stay away from lunges. And I was like, no, thank you. I'm going to just stay away from lunges. And so I modify what I need to, or I just do an extra set of something. And well, if I'm working at home to train on the platform I use, I just modify it and just do what I need to do. it's all pre-recorded anyway and whatnot. So I was like, well, I'll just modify it the way I need to modify it because everybody's body's different, like I said. And then for um, back to the nutrition, I use my Net Diary. It's a free app. I track my food constantly. So just for karate purposes, because I think people who don't eat enough or eat the wrong thing and then they nearly pass out in karate and like, really? I was like, it's like if you're gonna train for karate, you're gonna have to eat during training. I mean, for training, and eat the right foods because I've heard some people say, yeah, I had this big, huge, heavy meal before classes. Well, you're gonna go be puking in the bathroom at some point. Of course, I didn't say any of this, but I've been thinking it.
Wow. Well, can I ask you what belt are you in karate?
I currently just got promoted my solid red belt last Thursday in karate. Funny enough, my sensei, me and him go back many years, so I've known him for 19 plus years. And so last Thursday we were sparring in karate, and he brings up to the class and me when he called me up. He's, as I something as little as insignificant that I've seen Jimmy come into class. He's sparring with one hand only because I injured my wrist and so I can't punch with this hand. And he's like, it might seem so insignificant, but basically says a lot about his character. Coming in, training with one hand, and he gets a crap beaten out of him, but he still keeps showing up time after time again. And I said to him at the end of the classes, I thought you were going to say I was totally just freaking insane. He said to me, well, that would just be rude, but we already know you're freaking insane anyway.
So, ask you, what inspired you to start the Crazy Fitness Guy podcast show?
So what inspired me was, so when I started my keynote speaking career, it was the start of the pandemic, like very, very beginning pandemic. Started April 12th, 2020. And I mean, I know it's kind of started like in the ending of 2019, but then I don't think it reached us in the US until 2020. And one of my professors said to me, "Is like, Jimmy, the only way you can start getting a message out there as a keynote speaker, start a podcast." I'm like, I basically gave her the look that my two dogs gave me every single day. They gave me the look at me like I have six different heads. And I was like, a podcast on top of everything else I'm doing? Are you freaking nuts? And I'm glad she pushed me out of my comfort zone because the first interview gave me that I was on as a guest, gave me a platform that is known as something else now, but I'm not going to name it because I don't use it anymore. But then she got me into the podcasting. But this platform that she was using gave me this tell me, well, it basically was handed to me on a silver platter, so I can't say no now. I mean, I know I could just Google like podcast hosting platforms, but because that's kind of what I'm saying, my brain takes in a lot of information on a daily basis, processing many people's emotions, try to read people's facial cues, etc. Doesn't always work, but so out of all that and many more things and analyzing everything else and overanalyzing at times, um, I just couldn't bother to deep dive into the ins and outs. So I just went with the hosting company. But fast forward, I love podcasting because it got me to put my message out on the show on all the different platforms. Like somebody I'm not sure who, I'll never know who, but nominated me for Speaker of the Year, and then I won Speaker of the Year for resilience. And I think it's due to my message on multiple platforms, on podcasting and keynote speaking. But I was like, wow. And so to be nominated and to win all in a week's time frame, I was like, damn.
Wow. Well, congratulations on all your accomplishments. I mean, you got a red belt in karate. You got this keynote speaker award. Can I ask you? I mean, how many places have you spoken at? Like, how many speaking events have you done so far?
So online, I've done, I think, like 25 plus. In person, I would say 6 plus. You might be wondering, like, why not so many in person? It's, let's just say, there's some people who haven't heard of me yet, and then I'm promoting myself constantly and promoting my business constantly. But the times, but I think a lot more people has been finding out more about me this year so far because I've been in a lot of different places this month and next month. So I'm like, I guess the stars just need to align.
I mean, that's really amazing that despite everything you've been through, that you're putting yourself out there. I mean, for some people, public speaking is the number one fear. And what advice can you give to people that may be interested in becoming a speaker, but they're too afraid? Do you have any advice to those people?
Yeah, my number one piece of advice that my professor gave to me, who was my public speaking professor, also, I mean, I had her for 7 plus different classes. But one my best piece of advice that I got was if you mess up, just continue like nothing happened. No one's gonna know. No one's gonna make fun of you. Probably like 99.9% of the time, the audience wants you to succeed and hear what you have to say. So if you mess up, just shrug it off. You know how many times I messed up in my improv class? Many times. I just rolling with it, whatever. Screw up, don't give a crap.
It's congratulations again on all your success, and I think it's very remarkable that be able to overcome that fear of being speaking and starting a podcast. And I know you have a very successful podcast. So congratulations on that. Can I ask you, what are some of the common misconceptions people have about people with autism you like to help dispel through your advocacy work?
Yeah, so a couple of misconceptions. One that comes into my mind very often, I mean, and this has been said to me, and I mean, I didn't take offense to it or anything. So there's this person in one of my classes. I'm not going to say which class because that'll just be a dead giveaway. But there's one person in my class asked me, "You look like you're pissed off," and and the misconception is that so So when I'm not talking, you might see I am just like a neutral face on. And some people might say I'm pissed off or I look sad or something is wrong. And a lot of people with autism have a neutral face when they're not talking or not emphasizing words or speaking to anybody. And we it might look like we don't like we're just in a daze or whatnot. We're not. Eh, for me, when I tell people if I'm pissed off, and say, if I'm pissed off, I'll let you know if I'm pissed off. And it's like it's like I can be really vocal. I mean, let's just say I'm, um, let's just say when I called eBay the other day, let's just say I kind of ticked off the customer support person just a little bit. Uh, I mean, I wasn't trying to, but I was just trying to make my point come across. And so I can be vocal, I can be confrontational when I need to. And I always like to say, if I was really truly pissed off at something, there's probably going to be volcanoes around me at some point or another, and earthquakes. So think of me like the Incredible Hulk. I might turn, like, instead of green, I turn freaking red. Yeah.
Oh, great. And you maybe talk about, like you said, like you're doing all these different things. Like you're going to college. I'm asking, what are you going to college for? What degree are you aiming to achieve?
So my degree I'm in is mass media studies. You know, ironic, there's some people in my family who thinking, I was like, well, how can that relate to your business? And podcast is media, movies is media, music is media, books is media. There's just different types of media and whatnot. But and like even broadcasting is media, and people like some of my family members think, oh, you can't do anything with that. And I was like, can't do anything with that. It's like you watch freaking sports on TV. It's like, what do you think that guy is doing? Broadcasting, news anchor, etc. You know, and pretty much if we don't have any of those people, it's like we don't have any television either. I mean, I kid you not. Um, it gets tiring after a while, but then I'm like, I finally kind of set boundaries. If you don't give a crap, well, then you can watch me from afar, and you can see me achieve my goals, and you can be later on saying, "Oh, we always knew you could do it," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you did."
So how do you balance your busy schedule of school, your keynote speaking, your website, your fitness, your podcasting? How do you balance doing all that? It's like a lot to handle. I mean, do you like
Okay, hold it.
scheduling? Do you like a rigid schedule? Do you use like a calendar to help you balance all of it, or
I do block scheduling in my Google Calendar. It's not always perfect. Like I can tell you, just the other day, I might have missed one or two tasks on my to-do list, and my brain always. I'm trying to retrain my brain because it always thinks and like you have to get every single thing done, and I'm like, really? I just got X, Y, and Z done. I mean, I'm just using throwing examples out there off the top of my head, but like some things that had to pop up on Monday and I had to do instead of this one other task, my brain started giving me a saying, you failed. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I just had extra stuff I needed to do that was just as important as this other stuff. And so I use block scheduling. I use the Pomodoro timer method. Like I said, it's not always perfect. I might not always get everything done, but that's when I start. Uh, well, here's a bad pun, but I improvise for my improv class. I just pivot when I need to pivot, and guess this task did not happen today. I'm not making excuses, but well, let's be realistic. If I go to karate at night on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Monday, and afterwards, I'm very, very tired. Am I going to do a task correctly? Probably not. So I better just leave it as is and wait for the next day because my brain will just be like, it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm freaking tired. If you want me to screw this up, let's screw it up. But if you want me to do it the first time right, or at least not screw it up, then I push it. So me and my brain just like to argue back and forth at multiple times. Kind of just like a never-ending game of ping pong. There's no real winner at all.
You maybe discuss the importance of having community and support when it comes to, when people helping people achieve their health and fitness goals.
100%. People, my karate community is very supportive of everything I do. They push me past my limitations. I mean, as long as by limitations, I mean, I'm not talking, if I can't do lunges, they don't push me to do lunges. But if I can't punch with this hand, they don't. But they make me, they push me to be another better version of myself than I was either beginning of the day, middle of the day, or during the day, or pushed me beyond my boundaries in a good way. And then my friends are supportive me in karate. I mean, honestly, without my friends from karate and friends around me and family members around me, I probably wouldn't be here today. From my depression last year, for 7+ weeks of hell. I mean, I was in denial half of the time. I, I'm so, yeah, without my community and without fitness, I'd probably be dead and buried somewhere in a hole.
And you talked about before, like some people view people who have autism as being different. How is that word feeling different evolved for you over the years? But that thinking, how's your perspective changed about being different?
So, me being different, like I said, growing up, I felt like I wanted to be like everyone else. But I was running my own business for 8 years as this weekend. There's a lot of websites out there. There's a lot of brands out there. They all do the same things. They call each other out saying, you guys copied us, you did this, you did that, blah, blah, blah. Um, I knew I needed to stand out from everyone else. I know I'm not going to be for everybody. I don't try to be for everybody. I try to mix content for it to be relatable with many people. Like, for instance, um, even though I'm on the spectrum, there's some people who have the kind of the autistic look that it might be a day giveaway for those who might not know what to look for. I can't really describe it to you because I've only seen it maybe once, maybe twice, but not enough for me to know exactly the signs. And now I would point that out to somebody or etc. Because, it's none of my business. You're autistic? Great. You tell me you're autistic? Great. I have no problem. And uh, you have an extra challenges? Great. That I view difference as not even difference. I'm more I look at it as unique. Why create a Crazy Fitness Guy? To pull out people's uniqueness and their challenges. So I had this person on my show who was a disabled author on my show. I forget the whole. Apologies for my brain gone crazy for him. I don't. I remember that she had, let's just say, doctors told her she was never gonna do this, etc., etc. And instead of her just not doing anything anymore, she decided to take her. She could still write. She might not be able to move, but she can write and whatnot. And she, I think she wrote like 40+ books. And I forget her name. The show hasn't come out yet, but it was. But I enjoyed talking with her because she just understood what it's like to be different. She'd be treated to be different, but that didn't let her stop her. It was like, somebody who, like, I have spinal stenosis in my neck. I can let it stop me from going to karate. Even what somebody punched me in the head? What somebody by accident? And it's like, well, there's a lot of ways around this. My sensei knows, all my instructors know, the people I partner with know. That is okay. No headshots. Got it. Respectful of each other, etc. It's in a trained environment, etc. So my point is, I used to look at myself as being different as a bad thing. Now I look at it as I'd rather be unique, stand out, showcase what my talents are, what other people's talents are, showcase that, hey, I don't just have to stock shelves in a grocery store. I can do something with my life. I can have a life. I might need some extra help, but help is there's no shame in getting help. I mean, I used to think getting the bullies maybe felt like asking for help was a sign of weakness. Well, if I didn't ask for help in my own ways, maybe not, especially with the exact help, the way help, I might not even be here right now, sitting in this very exact spot.
So what impact do you hope to have on the world in terms of like your autism and health advocacy?
I want the health insurance. I want doctors. I want pretty much the whole world know that there's no such thing as the average person, because there's no average. There's no way to tell something that somebody's an average person. Everybody's unique. Everyone's different. Everyone has different bodies, different capabilities. And I'm not saying that to limit anybody or anything, but so I found out last year I was also not getting enough magnesium, which also causes depression. And now you might be wondering. So when I went to my doctor about this year, I learned that even though that on the test it said on the blood work said I was higher than the average person of getting magnesium, it was not high enough for the amount of training I've been doing. It does not take into account age, does not take into account and fitness. It does not take an account of many different things. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I asked my doctor, is like, could it be safe to say that I might need a little extra higher than everyone else? He's like, possibly. And he's like, try it. And and this was with his permission, of course. And I looked at the side effects. Like, well, what if you had much magnesium? Well, you can get an upset stomach, cramps, muscle cramps, etc. And I was like, well, worst case, I just cut back from it. But I've been having more energy from the magnesium supplement I'm taking. But where I was going with that was, yeah, there's no average person. There's not one single average person. It might have worked when we first, just as a baseline, as we improve with technology, showcase that people's different. Well, times change, technology has changed, the test needs to change too. And I love all the commercials on TV. I mean, I don't watch much TV. I only watch on the weekend, but and you see a lot of commercials on the streaming platforms. It, they're like, yes, the healthcare industry more innovative and whatnot. Well, that depends what part of the healthcare industry. Is it the healthcare actual side? Because I can argue to that to a certain extent. By diagnosis, I agree. By listening to the patients more, I agree. I mean, my open communication between the doctor and the patient, etc., not just here, take a pill for this, 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 etc. But where I can argue a little bit is the test still shows the average, still about that baseline average person who may or may not existed at some point or another. But then if you're talking about the health insurance side, holy freaking crap! Don't even get me started. I mean, that couldn't even respond. Getting in contact with my insurance is like a one-sided mirror in a police station in those cop shows. You just simply can't call them back without dialing 9,000 extension numbers just to get a hold to that one person who called you. They can easily reach out to you, but you can't reach out to them. And they don't do anything by email. They do snail mail. My God, we adapt to everything else, but insurance just can't adapt to technology. We're improving.
Maybe share maybe some future projects or goals that that you're either working on or it's part of your vision to help you with your own growth
For my own growth,
or like the collective growth of everybody.
I would say overall, like I said, I would say overall my goals are to take my matter up to the federal level, all by the books, because some of these advocacy groups these days, they do so many illegal things and then nobody pays attention to them, or they pay attention to them in the wrong way. By doing by the books, you're showcasing that, hey, I'm taking this matter seriously. I want you to look into this. I did all the research for you, etc., or all the hard stuff for you. Collect the 1,000 signatures you need for a petition. It's gonna take me a long time, but you know what? Slow and steady wins the race. You know, it's like the book of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise won.
If somebody had like a question about our conversation today or were interested in working with you or maybe asking you to speak at their event, what is the best ways of getting in touch with you?
There's a few ways you can get in touch with me. You can either contact me through crazyfitnessguide.com on the contact us page, or you can just send me a message on social media. I'm everywhere. I'm one too many places. No take backsies though.
Great. Do you have any final message or any other topic or point that you want to mention to the audience before we wrap up our podcast today?
I would say just keep being your unique self. The real people, your real friends, and the people who support you will not want to change who you are. And if you have a good doctor like mine, they won't want to change you either. And make sure. And if you need help along the way, whether medication or some sort, or just anything, there's a lot of alternatives out there. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of being smart.
Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for coming on our podcast and sharing about your experiences and your important advocacy. I definitely think that you brought up some really important issues today. So thank you so much for coming on our podcast and sharing with the world all about your perspective on life and autism and health. Definitely share some gold nuggets I think some people will take away Thank you for being a positive inspiration and impact in the world.
Thank you.